Today, I thought of sharing with you, what is spiritual coaching or what kind of support that I give to my clients. Basically, in a summarized way, if I tell what I do with my clients, I support them to connect with their higher self. In another word, connect with their own intuition. In another word, connect with them, connect with their own selves. So that is what I basically support in my clients. Because if you are connected to yourself, if you are connected to your higher self, you know what to do in life. That is your guidance, that is your teacher. And in case of clients who are disconnected with their higher self or disconnected with their intuition, I intervene and share with them what is their intuition is telling to them. So this is what I basically do. Like if I say it in a summarized way, this is what I do with my clients. So basically, in a one way, I guide them spiritually. Like I support them to find their true nature. And sometimes I give them techniques according to each person. Like when I come to a session, I don't have any script that I follow. I just completely conduct the session through my intuition. So whatever that I work with the client is very much specific to that each client. So how I work with you is how I work with another person is completely two different scenarios. I completely work in a very different way with each client because each individual is very different. They come with a different package. They come with a different trauma. So I work with according to each individual's needs. So there are two ways that I work with. One is that I give them spiritual guidance. The other way is I do spiritual healing, which is I use various techniques. And these techniques all come in from my own experience. Like I went on a healing journey for myself for many years, like 10 plus years. And through these years of doing a lot of inner work on myself, which I did, I just studied in the whole process to heal myself, and doing this process really made me like, uh, first I just healed myself, and I never had an idea that I would give this to another person. But at the end, that work just I started teaching it to other people, and they started getting results through these techniques. Like these are the techniques that I used on myself, which really brought results, so that now I'm bringing results from my clients through these techniques. So I will tell you a little bit about techniques later on. So one way is spiritual guidance, like a person could come, they don't have much mental uh, instabilities, but like everyone has their own dysfunctions in their life. So that's why like not just the spiritual guidance is enough. That is why the spiritual healing comes in handy. So it's just not enough, this whole spiritual guidance. I find that it's very important that we bring this whole psychology component. So basically what I do is I bring spirituality and psychology coming together with my work. So spiritual guidance, and then I support them with meditations, contemplations, and various other ways in order to find their true nature and like dismantling their identities and doing the opposite of what the mind says. So there are techniques that I do in order to guide them spiritually. And also I have created a course which is about the most powerful practices that I did in order to go through spiritual awakening. So this course is still in the process. I'm just working progress with that. And once complete, I will publish that in my channel. And so you will get to know through the channel. So that is basically spiritual guidance. And apart from that, I work with my clients on spiritual healing side. And for this spiritual healing, I use various techniques actually, like I could be using like chakra healing, where if there's, that everyone who is on a spiritual journey is aware about these 7 chakras. There could be imbalances with these chakras. So I worked on their chakras. And it, like, when a client comes to me, it depends completely like on that particular person, what is they need. And according to that, I just work with them, So I work with them through limiting beliefs. Like, if you take these limiting beliefs are very powerful and something that I worked on myself. And it is like when you're working on your limiting beliefs, it's like your whole world changes, because what you see is nothing but your own mind. So when you work on your limiting beliefs, your whole world starts changing. And so this is something very powerful that I worked on myself, and I worked on belief works, and I use different tools in order to release these. And I remember when a client worked with these limiting beliefs, I've seen that they are not just mentally that they are releasing, but also there's energy component to each belief that we are holding on to. When they are releasing this belief at the same time, this energy is also releasing from the system. So even their breathing changes when they're working on their beliefs. And another work that I do is bioenergetics, where we work on your body, where there are splits, there are many blocks. And so for that, we do a lot of active body work, which is very, very powerful. And so I integrate this work because sometimes we are so disconnected. We have like split between upper part of the body and the lower part, which is the animalistic side of the body, which is the lower part. And people are very much disconnected with their body, with their legs. They don't even feel their legs down there. So in order to like release this plate, like we work on bioenergetics and doing a lot of active work, which is very active, kind of powerful techniques. So it depends on the person, what they need. And so, yeah, and sometimes I do guided meditation by just moving inward and see whether there's any tensions within the body, and then like being with these tensions until those releases from your system completely. Because like if you take, your body carries all your traumas, you know. So when we go deep within, like I remember one time I was working with a client, and I just like guided her inwardly, and there was some tension in the belly area. And then when I went towards it, and when I guided towards it, she went into her birth trauma, and she completely grieved that, and then finally released from her system. That's birth trauma. And then like she described like she was seeing herself upside down, like the doctor has, she's carried her like upside down, a little baby. And so all started coming up in her memories, so it's very powerful. So we in our bodies, we all carry these emotions. So it's about bringing that into the consciousness, So that kind of work. And then the shadow work is huge. And shadow work is that we are integrating the parts that we are disowned within ourselves. These are all within our subconscious mind. So we are bringing that into the consciousness, which is very, very powerful. when we are dealing with these. There's a lot of like repressed anger, repressed sexuality, and so this is anima, so all these come in within shadow work. And shadow work is something very, very powerful because you go to the root of things, because it's your subconscious. You're bringing wholeness through shadow work. And sometimes, like, we meet a stranger, but we don't like the stranger. We don't even know anything about it. We already don't like that. These are nothing but shadows. So I work with shadow work and sometimes forgiveness exercises. We carry a lot of resentment inside us and we haven't forgiven people and we are carrying all this. So we work on these forgiveness exercises. Sometimes the person is not ready to forgive, and that's fine. And like forgiveness also come into the play at the right time. And if you do it in a place where you are doing it in a premature, like in a way which is you're not ready for a forgiveness, you still need to like deal with your anger first before you go into the forgiveness. So this type of work, I work with my clients and I've seen powerful forgiveness happens. And then like person, sometimes I remember one person, one client, she just forgave her father and she cried so much. And then she finally shared with me, even not only I forgiven my father, but all the men in my life. Like because the first that the like your father is the first man that you have the relationship with, first relationship. So it corresponds to all the relationship that you have with other men. So when you heal that fundamental father relationship, the entire man, you forgive. That's very powerful work. So I do forgiveness and also breath work through breathing. We bring out all repressed emotion to the surface and then finally release them from the system. So there are so many techniques that I use actually because I'm bringing them from all the, like all sort of schools, like in whatever method, like psychology, spirituality, any method, whichever the way that I bring to the each person, whatever they need at that moment, I use. And there are so many techniques that I use. I just mentioned few of them that I'm using. So all these techniques that I use, actually what I realized is fundamentally what really heals us is love. And like really what heals us is through love. And I might use number of techniques, but I know in reality how a client heals with me is through love. Remember, the most powerful healing force in life in this world is love. And we find that, like for example, we might like anywhere if someone is getting healed, it is through love. Nothing else, it is through love. And so basically with my coaching, the fundamental like concept, the fundamental theme in all my coaching work is based on this love. That is the most powerful force. And if there's any love in anywhere, the healing happens. Like then you might ask, like, then what about these relationships, love relationship? Why not the person get healed? Rather they get abused through the relationship. Well, those relationships mostly based on fear, attachment. So there's like when there's fear, there's no love there because that's like the opposite of love, fear. And so there's not much love there, there's much fear. So because of that, actually, I find this and not. enough love a person to get healed. So there's so much attachment there. So that's why they're the normal relationship. There's not much healing happens rather at the end. Actually, sometimes people even get abused through these relationships. So this is more than that. Love is something which is not the attachment. It is not what real love is. Love is about unconditionally accepting someone as who they are and giving them their freedom and letting them be who they are. That is what love is, just accepting them and for who they are. So basically, what heals a person is through love. And this is what spiritual coaching is all about, and this is how I guide people. And even though I use various techniques, fundamentally, it's all love. That is what really creates the biggest difference. So yeah, this is what I do with my clients, and this is what the spiritual coaching that I, because it's very unique to me, the work that I do. And if another person, if they're doing spiritual coaching, that would be completely different way, because I do it in my own unique way, because I work fundamentally through in my intuition. So I do it in my own way. So this is how I support my clients. So yeah, I hope you got an idea as how I work with my clients, because sometimes this work is, and the results that I bring out in a client, it's all between me and the client, unless they come out and talk. Like recently, I released a video on an interview that I did with a client who came to me and said that she would be happy to share her experience. She's Renuja, and she shared her experience. And so mostly the experience is only me and the client would know the results. So sometimes people are not aware what I'm really working with the client. And so basically I work every week. There'll be a one session, and at the same time, which is a 1 hour Zoom session. At the same time, I give them unlimited access to myself through WhatsApp. So they basically, whatever the period that they sign up with me, they can stay in touch with me through the whole period. Whenever they need my support, they can text me and I will get back to them within 24 hours. So this is how I basically work with clients. I give them complete access to myself, which is kind of something rare actually, because when we go to a therapist, they have the session and then we don't have access to them afterwards. So this is something I felt like in my healing journey, I would have liked if a person can stay there whole time where I can ask questions. So this is what I give to my clients. And so, yeah, I hope you got an idea about the work that I do. So, yeah, thank you.